The year is 2021. At this point in my life, I am 16 years old and I am getting ready to be a sophomore in high school. Now, at this point in my life, football was very important to me. This year, especially more than others, because this year I have decided to actually try out for the starting quarterback position for my sophomore JV team. And it's what I really wanted, but I never really put true work in with the receivers and all that, the rest of the team even. And we had summer camp. We had summer camp to prepare us for the fall season ahead of us. And I, of course, wanting to bond with the team and wanting to get better at my position and trying to prove myself, I, of course, signed up for this summer camp. And when I had got there, things weren't going exactly to plan, exactly. And what I mean by this is my performance started to slip. Things didn't really go my way, per se. And the reason because of this is because I didn't put the work in. I didn't take care of my body. I didn't sleep 7 to 8 hours a day. I wasn't eating the right food. I wasn't drinking enough water. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was not, at this time, a very healthy person as I am today. And this showed up. This showed up in practices. This showed up on just about every single drill and time that we had the chance to show off ourselves. It was all a result of not taking care of my body. Now, fast forward to around August of 2021. Now, the football season was right around the corner and things were about to begin. And at this point, it was me and this other guy, his name is Wesley, and we were essentially fighting for the starting role of the starting quarterback position. And guess what happens? He got it. Wesley got it over me. He got it because he put the work in. I know he was taking care of his body a lot more than I was. And he was trusted more by the coaches. He was more reliable. And in retrospect, if I were the coach, I would have made the same exact decision. I was a liability. In fact, actually, one of my coaches actually told me that at the time, that I was a liability. And honestly, I don't disagree with him. And because of that, that sparked something in my mind a few months later, but we'll get to that point in just one moment, where taking care of your body was an essential, not just for sports, but to become more successful, to not become a liability, to become successful at what you do at, whatever it is you choose in life. And of course, the game one rolls around against the crosstown rival, or rather the same town, but our main rival. And we won. We won, and things were looking pretty good for us. Of course, not as good for me because I wasn't starting. But fast forward a month or two later into October, at the end of the season. It was the last game of the season of their JV team. And we played a school that was about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away, in the southern part of the state that I live in. And we go there, and actually right around the second half, later on, maybe like third, fourth quarter, I was put in. because we were up by, I can't remember, maybe 2 or 3 scores. Maybe 3 scores, because that's when usually the backups play. And I was put in. And at this point, I was really contemplating, honestly, about quitting football, because I knew deep down it wasn't necessarily for me. It wasn't just because I hadn't put in the work in, but it wasn't a good personality fit for me. And I knew I could have done better at other things. So anyway, it's the end of this game, 4th quarter. I get subbed in, and I remember I have a few plays, like I think I had like a QB option or something, like I ran from, I don't know, maybe a couple yards or something. And actually, that season, even though I did not start, I actually did technically throw 1 touchdown. I threw 1 passing touchdown. It was kind of it was a running back screenplay of all things, so technically I did throw 1, but anyway, that's besides the story. So it's the last play of the game, and our coach tells me to take a knee because we're about to win. So I do that. The game ends, and I speak with my friend at the time. We don't talk as really anymore, but at the time we were really close. And I spoke with him, and then I was really contemplating, like, hey, I might quit football and like focus on other things. And at the time, I remember he really wanted me to stick with it and keep my head up, keep working, because I very well might start in the future on varsity at some point. And maybe he was right. Maybe in an alternate universe, I was starting QB my senior year, maybe. I don't know. But I'm glad everything at the end of high school turned out the way they did, because it turned out so much better than I ever could have hoped for. So what happened about a month afterwards, so November of 2021, I decided that the second sport that I was playing at the time, track and field, that I would go all in on track. I would go all in on track, specifically distance running. I'm a pretty lean guy. I don't know if you can probably tell already. I'm a very lean guy. And I had ran an 800 my freshman year. I only ran 1 800, and it was decent for being a sprinter. But I really wanted to try it out. I really wanted to try out distance running. So that winter, I went on the winter arc, I guess, if you could say. And I just absolutely grinded my ass off. I mean, I ran just about every single day that winter. Maybe not at first. Maybe I began running 3, maybe 4 days a week. So nothing crazy. And these runs weren't anything wild either. Maybe 3-4 miles per run. Nothing extravagant at all. Nothing fancy. Just building a base, right? So a few months go by. It's now January, early February maybe. And not only did I stay consistent with running every single week, but I changed many habits of mine that made me glow up, essentially. I can't really find a better word to describe it. So I fixed my diet. I fixed my sleep schedule. I fixed my water intake, skincare, everything. Every sleep, skin, exercising, running a lot, lifting weights, water, diet, all everything. Literally everything I changed. All of the I just became so much more of a healthier person, and I felt it. I felt more healthier. I felt more confident about myself. And it showed. It showed in my runs, it showed in my confidence, it showed in how I acted in public, how I was treated. Because so a part I didn't mention before, but in the fall during football season, I was pretty scraggly looking. All right, I don't know. I might have a pop up a video or something right now and kind of show you how I looked like before, maybe a before and after, perhaps. But let me just say, I had a transformation. And I noticed this because I started getting treated differently. And I'm not one of those people who says that your looks are the only thing that matters, because it's not. There's other things that matter in life too. But I would be lying to you if I said they didn't matter. Because how I was treated in the fall of 21 versus the spring of 22, which I'll get into in just one second here, was a night and day difference. People started to respect me. People started to give me looks, not bad looks, but good looks. I started catching people glancing at me and kind of checking me out a little bit more. I started getting more women, or not women at the time, but I started getting more female attention. And it was all because I started taking care of myself. I started becoming so much more of a healthy, happier, more well-rounded human being. And it was all because of actually going all in on something, and that was track and field. And even though I don't run track and field anymore, I cherish those days and will never forget the things that they did for me, because I will not be the same person I am today without what I went through in taking track seriously. So anyway, fast forward to track season starting. So our track season started late February, like around the third week of February. And at this point, this was before like I actually showed people the things I was capable of. So everybody had low expectations for me, because they were just used to the old me. They were just used to the old me that was mediocre or poor at everything that I did. But this year was different, because I actually put in the work. I put in the work on the off season, and I actually changed my trajectory. So I started doing the track practices, the workouts, there's these things called fartleks. It's like a German saying or something where it's basically a tempo run. If you're a runner and you're watching this, you probably know what this is. Tempo runs, track workouts, intervals, the whole 9 yards. All the track workouts that we did. It's hard work, but it pays off. And anyway, so I started leading these workouts. Like, I was the top finisher for basically all of the workouts that I did. It was me and this other senior named Caleb, and at the time a freshman named Presley, and we were basically the top guys. And it was just so unbelievably surreal to me that I was actually found out that I'm actually good at something. Because up to that point in my life, I wasn't really good at much, if anything at all. Just very mediocre at just about everything I did. Until track, essentially, my sophomore year. So the first indoor meet rolls around. I run maybe, it wasn't very good, like a first or second meet, it was like a 2:18 800, which isn't very good, or at least for my standards. Second meet rolls around, another, I think maybe it was like a 2:16 2:15, yeah, maybe like 2:6, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, and then outdoor season comes along First outdoor meet, I ran, I think, 2:12, 2:14 maybe. And then I just kept on every single meet. From outdoor season and beyond that, I just kept on dropping time by like 2-second intervals. So first meet, like 2:14, then 2:12, then 2:10, then 2:08. Then all of a sudden it's mid-April, 2:06. Then May comes around, 2:04. And guess what happens in May? I qualified for the state championship meet. I actually qualified for state. If you were to tell me at the beginning of the year that I would qualify for state, I would have not believed you one bit. But I did it because I put my faith in God. I worked my absolute tail off, and I actually accomplished the things that I didn't even think were true, but I accomplished more than I ever could have even thought was possible. I exceeded my own expectations because I actually put in the work. I changed my diet. I changed my sleep schedule. I started drinking water, went to the gym, exercising. I improved all of these areas of my life, and I exceeded my own expectations. God gave me more than I ever could have even thought was possible because I put in the work. I improved every aspect of my life. Okay? And man, I'll tell you that when I went to the state championship, it was such a surreal feeling. It was a surreal feeling that I will never forget. I felt like I actually had done something with my life. And when the season ended, and also not only that, before the season ended, but during school, so like from March, May, and April, those 3 months, I still say this to this day, but I think definitely the best number one school semester I've ever experienced in my life, by far. Spring semester of sophomore year of high school, spring 22, best school semester of my life, because that's when everything started to actually shift for me. I started receiving attention from people that I've never received attention from before. I started receiving respect from the people who once looked down upon me, who preyed on my downfall, who called me names, to essentially verbal bullying. And all of that changed, all within a couple of months, because I changed my reputation. I changed the outlook, the narrative on who I was as a person, from this weak, unattractive kid who didn't put the work in, who was mediocre at best at everything he did, from this much more better, healthy looking young man who put in the work, who's now actually really good at track. And I tell you, man, it was starting to like almost spread a little bit. It was starting to spread that I was actually really good at track. And that reputation followed me through the rest of high school. It really did. I really did. There was always the people who don't like you, and you can't pay attention to those people. Because no matter what in life, there's always going to be people who look down upon you, who think you're less than them, who think no matter what, you amount to nothing, and that you're not good enough. There's always going to be people who despise you for no reason. And honestly, that was the case for me a lot of the times. A lot of people didn't like me in high school, and I didn't even know them, barely. I didn't even talk to a lot of people in high school, actually, really. And still, yet, there was a lot of people who just did not like me. Thought I was weird, maybe mostly from like middle school, but they never really truly got to know who I was. The authentic version of me, my actual self. And they thought just because I was different than them, that made me weird, and that made me antisocial, that made me the outcast. Just because I was different than them, just because I acted differently, and just because I had different interests and a different personality than them. And things get better in life if you actually put the work in. Right now in life, if you're watching this video and you're not quite at the moment in life where you want to be at, you just have to realize that you could be doing more. You could be doing a lot more right now. And that's not to say that you're not putting in the work at all, because you very well could be. But you have to know that there is a fine line between hard work and just putting in the minimal effort. Okay? Because if you say that you're working hard, if you say that you're putting in the work every day, if you say that you're trying your absolute best, but you're still doom scrolling, and honestly, I fall victim to this a lot, but if you're sitting on the couch all day watching TV, if you're eating junk food all the time, if you're not hitting the gym, if you're not drinking enough water, if you're not doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay, if you're not doing what you're supposed to take care of your body, to become a healthier person, to become the best version of yourself, then you're not doing enough. You're lying to yourself. So if you want to become the best version that you could possibly dream of, you have to stay consistent. You have to stay disciplined. You have to do everything that I basically went over. And that's just the basics. Poor diet, poor sleep schedule, not drinking enough water, all those things can easily be fixed. Easily. And honestly, you don't even have to get a gym membership. Push-ups are free. Going for a walk, I guess, in the warmer months, are free. Exercising is free. Changing your mindset is free. Changing your attitude is free. And these are all simple things that you could be doing, you could start right now today after you watch this video. So if anything you take away from this video, it's this, that it's okay to feel like you're falling behind in life right now. But that doesn't mean you have to stay stagnant and stay at where you are in life right now, because things could be so much better. They could also be much worse. But if you look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you're doing enough when you know deep down that you're actually not, then I think you need to wake up a little bit. I think you need to wake up and realize that you could be doing more. And with that being said, I think maybe if there's one last point, I guess I'll wrap it up with one quick story. So I'll fast forward all the way to May 2024. Okay, so it's May of 2024, my graduation year. And I actually had just graduated from high school. And we go to the ceremony, the arena where we graduate every year for our high school classes. And afterwards, after the ceremony is finished, there is an after party I hear about at a former classmate's house, just maybe 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away. And I get invited to this after party for the graduation. And when I arrive at this after party, right, I walk in to the front door, and immediately, right off the bat, everything just feels off. Like I'm not exactly supposed to be where I'm supposed to be. It feels like everybody around me is drinking alcohol, everybody's vaping, everybody's smoking around me, everybody. And to be honest, I did not have a great relationship with a lot of people in my high school class. I did not get along with a lot of them. Partly because of everybody kind of formed their own friend groups in middle school, and I hadn't, and maybe that's why. But as soon as I walked into that after party after graduating high school, surrounded by people who were doing exactly the thing that I was trying to stay away from, bottles of Hennessy, bottles of Pink Whitney, Don Julio, all this stuff, and people vaping around me, and it's like I was surrounded by the very thing that I was trying to get away from. I was surrounded by the very thing that I was trying to get away from. And I felt so out of place. Because literally, I'm pretty sure I was just about the only sober one in that house that night. Everybody around me had a bottle in their hand. I had a bottle of water in my hand. And I felt so out of place, obviously. And this didn't feel like a bad thing, though. This didn't feel like a bad thing. This felt like that I had a bright, positive future. And obviously, I'm not saying that like you having a drink every now and again substitutes you from having a positive future. Not at all. But I felt so out of place. And it was almost a good feeling because I knew that I had good things planned for me in the future. And I know I still do. And honestly, everything starts with this YouTube channel, and that's why I'm doing this right now. So, funny story. Yeah, well, not very funny, but the last story was really just kind of representing how I just felt kind of like the black sheep, so to speak. I just felt like I was very out of place in a house that I just didn't really feel right in, and it felt good, honestly. It felt like closure, almost. It felt like closure when I left the house, maybe an hour or two later, after conversing with all of them, because I did have, multiple people that I did actually get along with in my grade. And after chatting up with a lot of them, maybe playing beer pong a little bit, who knows? I had left that house feeling good that I had the closure that I wanted to. And in summary, this video is to represent that it's never too late to change course. It's never too late to realize that your life is worth saving. And what I mean by that is essentially what I said earlier in the video, where changing your life habits, changing the things that you need to change in life, the priorities, the water intake, the going to the gym, I know I've been harping on this a lot, but it's important stuff. If you want to achieve your best look, if you want to achieve your best self-image, improve every aspect of your life, not just your looks, but your personality, your maturity. Work on these things, because trust me, it is so worth it, and people will start to respect you more. And with that being said, I'm going to leave the video to the end right here. Please, if you found anything at all remotely helpful in this video, please drop a like down below, drop a comment. I love the feedback. Any feedback at all is amazing. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.